The robots in Atomic Heart look like this guy.
Yes. Oh my god. They do.
Oh no.
Smoke weed.
Like,
Did not see that coming.
hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, and good night. Welcome to episode 103 of Press Any Key. I'm your host, Pat Navarano. With me, as always, my two co-hosts, Mike Burke, Nick McFly. You can find us on all social media at PressAnyKey.tv. You can also find us on our website, PressAnyKey.tv. We got a fun one tonight. We saw Cocaine Bear, and I literally had a transcendent experience in the theater.
Why?
Just did a lot of coke for the movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Mr. Heart problem. How's that going?
I had a heart transplant by the end.
I died.
Also for tonight, Sony had a state of play this week. There's a Captain America musical on the way, and we can just start with the review of Atomic Heart, I guess, or non-review.
The lack thereof.
The lack thereof. So yeah, just right off the bat, I was gonna play Atomic Heart. I realized that it came out last week, but I didn't have time. I was still playing a good game, Hogwarts Legacy, and which, by the way, I 100%ed on Thursday night.
God damn. Congratulations.
I haven't even finished the story.
Yet somehow you are a higher level than me. I'm almost level 40 though. Like if
Okay, now you're a higher level than I am.
yes, much higher.
Thank God.
Well, I have no life.
Much
so,
higher.
Much.
yeah. So I'll say this. First of all, Microsoft needs to fix whatever the fuck is wrong with Game Pass on PC. All of the new titles you can't launch. I'm not the only person with this problem. This seems to be an issue that's permeating a lot of gamers with high-end rigs. Okay, that's just the truth of it. And some of the fixes have come down to like, oh, make sure that you have set the time manually or automatically on your PC turned off. I did every troubleshooting step on every forum I could find. This game would not fucking launch. So I downloaded it on my Series X, and I played probably the first 2 to 3 hours of it. And I'll say this because this is really the only thing I can say about it. I like the concept. I like the idea behind it. But if this is how gameplay is going to be for the next 10 hours,
You're not doing
I'm
it.
not going to make it the whole way through. And I think a lot of that comes down to I'm more partial to first-person shooters with mouse and keyboard at this point.
Oh, so when you were playing on your Xbox,
On my
it was
Xbox.
like,
But that being said, bro, that game looked incredible on that Series X, and it was silent. Like, you couldn't even hear the fans.
damn.
Yeah.
There's no soundtrack.
It looks
It took all
visually.
the audio out, yeah.
It visually looks really good, and so it's in a mad and sublime utopian world. You take part in explosive encounters. It's the first sentence that describes it. I was like,
So,
what does that mean? Like, what is it even about?
Like I said, so I can't tell what the main mission of my main character is, but here's the concept. The Soviets developed technology either shortly before the end or right after the end of World War II. That was like such a technological advancement. Now robots run all unskilled labor.
Good.
That they run all unskilled labor, but there's also, because there was also this one point that they mentioned that because these robots are now the Soviets have become these benevolent superpower, right? And they're giving out this technology to other countries, right? And for instance, there's one section where you're driving in a car and you hear over the radio that America is now having problems with the lower and middle class because all these robots are here to take the
They
middle
took our
class that was
jobs.
built during World War II. Exactly. They
Yeah.
took our jobs. I think that's interesting. The landscape is beautiful. This Soviet utopia they built is really cool too. And there's even a section of the game that takes place in a city in the sky, which sounds an awful lot like another game that this game is drawing lots of inspiration
I was
from.
about
You
to
said
say.
same developers?
Not the same developers. I was incorrect about that.
Yeah, how
That
much
game
is it?
comes out in a few months. The Ken Levine's next game, the BioShock guy.
Yeah.
This was heavily inspired by them, though.
It
Like,
sure
without
look.
a
It
doubt.
sure looks like it. It looks like
To the point where you're using lightning with one hand and a shotgun in another.
Oh, so it is straight
it's
up.
straight up like that.
all right.
Like I said, I'm intrigued by the setting and kind of what they're setting up right now, but I haven't seen it through, so I can't give you my thoughts on the story. I can't give you my extended thoughts on gameplay because I don't know how it is. But what I can tell you is that if you're interested and you do have Game Pass and you can get it to fucking run, go ahead, try it out. Because I will say this, I am going to go back later on, like, probably tomorrow, because it's snow day.
Is it
Tomorrow's
supposed?
we're getting snow?
Apparently,
It's about damn time.
There's no
Apparently-
such thing as a snow day anymore in this climate.
Apparently, Liz was supposed to go to the office tomorrow, and they all canceled because there's snow tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah, and one of my friends was supposed to have rehearsal tomorrow because she just cast her show, and they said they had to cancel because of snow.
Wild.
So we'll see.
I mean, it has great, good ratings. It's very positive. There's
Depends.
9,000 people, but on Steam, it has a rating of 9 out of 10.
Yeah. The thing, though, is that, so I might have mentioned this before. The guy that I watch for my know or go on video games is SkillUp. He's the man never misses. However, I watched his review of Atomic Heart, and I see the points he was making, but I think there's still enough good in it to overlook those things. Because, once again, I'm only 3 hours in. So right now, however, his whole thing is down the road, it just doesn't come together. Like the story, the plot, the gameplay, it just doesn't really all gel well together. He also said that he didn't like Sonic Frontiers, and I played the fuck out of that game. So I'm just saying. So that's why I was willing, hey, it's on Game Pass. I'll try it out. Looks like something up my alley. So
Is it horror related? Because it looks like a lot of the things that are in here, I'm just watching one of the gameplay, trailers for it,
kind of.
are very, jump scare horror-y.
I haven't noticed anything.
No?
Was, I also watched a horror movie this week that I did not find to be scary at all, but the people next to me were freaking out the entire time.
Because
So
we're just desensitized to
yeah,
violence.
yeah. But also, I also just think when I've been watching people get gutted on film since I'm 9 years old at
Yes,
this point.
you are desensitized
Oh, yeah,
to
you
violence.
did just say that. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah. Nah, maybe I should listen. Anyway, but yeah, so that's my non-Atomic Heart review. Check it out. That's all I can say.
I just pulled up some images from Atomic Heart because these robots kind of look like the cover of an Aerosmith album.
Which Aerosmith album?
You know, the one with the sexy lady robot.
Oh no, I thought it was looking more like a Radiohead album.
You know what it looks like? It looks like the robots in Atomic Heart look like this guy.
Yes. Oh
You
my
know?
god. They
Oh
do.
no!
Smoke weed.
Like,
Did not see that coming.
Yeah.
that's what they look like.
They for sure do.
The other cool thing is you first start off with an axe. So when you swing the axe and you hit them, you do cause damage to them. You can lop off limbs. There's gashes in their face. I think that's kind of cool, But but on a controller, man, I just can't get the fucking the agility down yet. I'll figure it out. But anyway, yeah, Microsoft fixed that shit because I tried to play fucking High on Life too, and I couldn't play that either.
Okay, now I see the weird robot that you're talking about. But if you look up Atomic Heart robot twins, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Oh yes,
That was all over Twitter.
What?
Yeah.
What were they simping for that one?
They were simping
for that
hard.
I understand.
It was
why.
Yeah, it was they were simping. They were like, "This is what women look like," and then it was all of the Horizon Zero Dawn, where they made them actually look like a realistic
Yeah.
woman. They were like, "Not that. Give me big old silver titties."
I remember the memes for Lady Dimitrescu. I remember the one where it's from the game where she picks you up and she's gonna throw you across the room. And the camera switches and it's the guy and he's like,
Death by Snoo Snoo.
So, like I said, the one thing I do really like though is the setting, and they have this one little memorial to the end of World War II, and this technology is I think they're called neuropolymers or some shit like that. It was able to stop a virus that the Nazis let out that caused a worldwide pandemic to try and salvage their their eventual defeat. So like I said, there's a whole bunch of revisionist history in there, but it's cool. So the controversy around this game right now,
Where do you want to start?
which I do want to. So reviews aside and all that shit, I think it's important to mention that the game studio has come out and said that they're against war, but specifically not Putin's war in Ukraine. And the problem is that it seems that some of the funding for this game came from pro-Russian state groups, which is kind of fucked up when you think about it. So thankfully I didn't pay for it. But yeah, I did not realize like that's an actual big deal. Like that's not great.
Yeah.
This is no Hogwarts Legacy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's different.
Like this would directly like is propagandizing Putin's war in Ukraine. So
also that there were all of those tweets around like, this is why this game was able to be made, and it's like all just like white men. Like the entire dev team is like 20 white men, and all the people are like, yeah, that's why we got them silver baddies in here. It's like that wouldn't have happened. Like they would have been on the cutting room floor of another studio. I'm like,
yeah, but it's also
what is happening?
Yeah, it's also just it's like, yeah, they're a bunch of European nerds making a fucking video game.
Yeah,
like, what'd you expect?
dark.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cold.
Exactly. Like, come on. Like
The famine is here.
Winter is coming.
the spud fuckers are back. So, but yeah, Atomic Heart. What else can I say? Just get it on Game Pass.
Gameplay wise, would you compare it to any other titles?
Like I said, I don't think I've played enough to really label down, but what I can say is that it is very reminiscent of BioShock. I just got the electric hand and I have a shotgun, but there isn't an overabundance of ammo. The one really cool thing that they did, and I think this should be they need to figure out how to put this in every single game, is your little
Turns out you're actually the bad guy from the past.
Is that Knights of the Old Republic?
That's BioShock.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot of games.
Your glove is like this AI glove. He like hacks doors. He's the companion, right?
It's your Pip-Boy.
No, it's not a Pip-Boy. Because I thought Pip-Boy too.
Get it straight.
Because Pip-Boy is you look in and you got to change everything. Where this is like literally just a guy with like little tendrils that comes out.
Like R2-D2.
Yeah.
Oh.
Except he doesn't, curse in his robot language the whole movie. He just curses in English. I maintain the belief that R2-D2 is just dropping curses and slurs all in Star Wars and nobody can understand.
Well, that's
them.
why C-3PO is just utterly shocked all the time. Because he understands.
embarrassed.
He's like,
embarrassed.
oh my Christ.
So, the little glove, right? He can hack doors. He can interface with consoles and stuff, which is cool. But the best part about him is that he creates a magnetic force. So when you have all of these like drawers and desks and like cabinets that you search through, you just hold the search button as opposed to searching through everything, and the drawers just open up and everything gets sucked into your inventory. And
That's cool.
You see, and anything that goes into your inventory that you have too much of goes straight into a storage bin that you can access at the points that you have to craft and upgrade weapons. I was like, if they got anything right, if they nailed one thing in the first 3 hours of this game, it's the inventory collection system.
Ooh.
Like that right there, I was like, they got to put that in
See,
every
the problem
fucking
with
game.
that is that's just going to make me hoard. That's absolutely all.
That's
I'm
all I'm
going to search.
doing,
I'm
yeah.
going to search every damn drawer.
Mike, you were going to do that either way.
If it's like a Resident Evil thing where I have to make actual choices based on my inventory, like
Yeah,
the
I
old
know.
one, yeah. That's good because I'm like, oh fuck, I can't take this. If you're like, yeah, we apparate this into a box later on, I'm like, I need 500 of that. And I will not touch a single crafting mechanic in this game.
I was happy that you don't have to walk around the entire time. Revelio. Revelio.
That's my
Which, by the way, I was able to upgrade that to like where it stees far.
That
like,
was
super
one of
far.
the first
Even
upgrades
then,
I did.
Not great.
That's the only one that I really haven't gotten so far.
Oh no, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, if you do it on the broom, you see everything.
You see every.
You do it on the
Like,
broom,
yep.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Do it on the broom, folks.
That's the train derailment horn. Anyway.
And that's mad
Oh,
luxurious.
that was just a random choice.
Okay, so with that said, Atomic Heart. It's on Xbox Game Pass. Download it. I don't know what else to say. You got nothing to lose except your time, which what were you going to do anyway? Listen to this show? So, next up, Captain America the Musical. Well, I don't think it's called that, right? It's called I Could Do This All Day or some shit, right?
Shit like that.
So, if you watched the first episode of Hawkeye, which
Everybody did.
I think everybody watched
really
at least
popular.
the first one.
everybody absolutely watched one episode.
So there was a surprise real life performance of Rogers the musical at D23 last year, and it was also introduced in the first episode of Disney Plus's Hawkeye series. The song that they are performing in that clip is called Save This City, which is written by Tony-nominated Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman. So that show is now going to be a one-act show that is coming to Disneyland Resort in California.
Oof. Okay.
What?
That's just. It's the whole point of that is him sitting in that chair having basically a PTSD episode, and they're like, "Fuck, we should make this."
Fans took to the song, and it blew up on Spotify charts. But now Disney has announced that they'll actually make Rogers the Musical, a short one-act musical. It'll be performed a limited time this summer at Disney California Adventure Park. The writers have expressed that depending on the reception and how well it goes, maybe this could be a full thing. Listen, I said I'm calling my agent right now. All right, I got to be in this. All right, even if I'm just
you want to be Ant-Man who wasn't there.
With ensemble, and I'll work my way up. Because I don't get
because they just have the one song, cities. Right? That's what they've composed,
I believe. But I can't imagine it'd be too hard for these guys to write anything.
Nah, they're like.
What are their credits? Because I know you have it up.
I was pulling it up. Mark, I think, did Hairspray.
Okay.
I'll pull up the other dude, Scott. I'm just trying to.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. Scott Whitman has credits for he's got a bunch of different stuff. He also did Hairspray.
Let's see.
God, there's a lot. There, like he has a ton of like actual movie here. Credits and everything.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He has Catch Me If You Can. He has Some Like It Hot, which just opened up last year. The Odd Couple, Hairspray, Patti LuPone on Broadway. I guess he fucking wrote or arranged her own show
before she left the Union.
Yeah, and those are big fucking shows.
The deep cut.
Yeah, that is. I didn't think anybody else here would know that. And yeah, those are big. That's big shit.
That's some big shit.
He also did some stuff as far as discography. He did "Merry Christmas to You" by Mariah Carey. He's done Bette Midler records. He's done Addams Family Values, A Few Good Men, Sister Act, Sleepless in Seattle. This guy, yeah. So I mean, he's written some good music, you know. Okay. So I would imagine that. I mean, and like I said, if that song did well on Spotify, because listen, those Marvel fans are going to eat up anything. But if it was accepted by general audiences enough to start charting on Spotify, there might be something there. You know, it's just something to, keep an open mind.
Just now I'm going to have to buy $200 Broadway tickets to understand how Phase 6 is fucking affected by.
That's a good point.
You got to come see it. There's something that happens.
Stay for the post-credit scene.
Yeah, Loki's just in the audience of every performance.
He's just hiding.
All right. So there was a state of play this week. And boy, what a divisive
arms tired.
What a divisive state of play it was. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll play the footage on mute because
we're not taking chances anymore.
We're not even that we're taking chances. Like, this won't get claimed. But my point is that I don't need to sit here and narrate what goes on in this trailer. Everybody can watch it alone. I do have some points, though. So first of all, release date's coming March 24th, 2023. Just, no, actually, we're under a month now. So this remake was rebooted in production to be more faithful to the original game because I believe that they were going the way that that Resident Evil 3 remake was going, and fans were not receptive to that because that was just they highlighted all the big parts of the game as opposed to just remaking it, and it was good, but it was criminally short. It was like 4 hours long for a full price video game.
Right. This looks
graphics
so good. My God.
The graphics look absolutely incredible. So Capcom is using an upgraded version of the RE engine, which they've been using since 2017 when they did what's that game called? Resident Evil 7, whichever one's with the hillbillies in the bayou.
Bayou.
As you can see, there's multiple gameplay changes. Shit. You can walk and shoot now. There's a dodge mechanic. There is a parry mechanic, which I think you saw earlier. And what's it called? They have also introduced some sort of co-op feature for the full game because somehow Luis is still alive in 90% of the. See, like how
Yeah.
Luis is long dead in the original.
Yeah, he's in like the intro, the man.
Well, he makes it probably to the end of Act 1, I think, in the original one. I mean, damn, dude, they did a number on Sadler, but they still kept all the blind guys, like the Krauser's in this,
That's
Ada's
so
in
cool.
this.
Like,
And they also didn't get rid of the QTEs because this game made
You can't.
they made QTEs the
QuickTime event.
yeah. So not only has the developer fully and faithfully remade all of the environments from the original game, they also expanded on some. Namely, the first one that they mentioned is the military island at the start of Act 3. Because I think the whole thing was that I'm not sure if people are underwhelmed by it, but it just felt a little short for the climax of the game, at least in my opinion.
Felt a bit rushed at the end.
Just a little bit. And they have said they have greatly expanded upon that. So you're getting more game than you were the first time. I have not seen any of the stuff from the village after the initial counter. The castle's probably fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like we've seen very little. Like I know that in here they had this room specifically is the big one that everyone like that dodge mechanic.
Right.
This where you have to protect Ashley as she brings up the cranks.
One of the worst missions
One of the
ever.
worst missions ever. However, I'm glad that they put it in here.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm
A faithful
you couldn't
restoration.
remake this. This game set the precedent for every third-person action shooter till today. God of War and The Last of Us still use the camera angle and the control scheme that were set up by this
just
game.
thinking that that one where you're protecting with the sniper rifle makes me think of the one where you're Joel hanging upside down and Ellie's undoing the refrigerator.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I mean, we talked about Dead Space Remake a few weeks ago. I went back and I saw an interview with the original creator of Dead Space, and he said Resident Evil 4 came out while they were making Dead Space, and he went to the executives at EA and said, we need to reboot this game from the ground up, like restart development. And when they said why, they said,
Play this.
they said, because you need to play the game that Capcom just dropped, because if we make our game in the style of this, we could have a truly great game. And he was absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Like I said, this game really did set the bar very high, and like I've said a million times, set the template, the precedent, the expectations of what a game like this could be.
It's gonna be good.
Considering Capcom's recent string of hits with the Resident Evil titles, I have no doubt that this will be incredible. I'm not sure if I've mentioned it on the show. I've said it 1,000 times to everybody who I play video games with. Resident Evil 4 is my favorite video game of all time. Unmatched. I mean, I love the God of War series. I love Last of Us. I mean, I love all the PlayStation exclusives.
God, baby girl.
I love Halo. I love Mario Party. I love all those fucking games. I love it all. This is the one I always come back to when somebody asks me, what's your favorite game of all time? I've been very consistent about that.
Do you know, and you might not, and it's fine, if they kept the original,
What if it wasn't fine?
then we're going to take a break.
Okay, keep going.
Do you know if they've changed the voice acting? Or is it,
Yeah, so...
did they re-record, or are they using...
Oh, no, they absolutely... Like, this is a full rebuild from the ground up. I think it's the same voice actor who voiced Leon in the 2 remake from 2019, which would make sense. You know, it's in the same continuity, same canon. But they could not get the voice actors from 20 years ago because...
Why?
Well, you know, there's been a lot of smoking going on for the last 20 years. So maybe everyone sounds a little bit aged.
I'm excited to see the merchant. He's predominantly who I care about.
buying?
What are you buying?
Well, they reference him in Resident Evil 8, remember? Yeah. Something my friend says or some shit.
Yeah, the big fat guy.
Yeah, exactly. Which, once again, how does that guy get around, you know?
The back of his cart. He just stays there.
Just a bunch of loading docks
Yeah.
just backs into. But yeah, I'm very excited about this. So, Nick, any thoughts? Any thoughts on this?
Nope.
Okay, great. So glad to have you on. Mike,
Hey,
you got
man,
anything to add to this?
you know my forte. This isn't it.
That's fair.
Actually, I know I just said not to do this, but we could do a segment on the fly. We absolutely have to play Sons of the Forest.
It looks good.
That is 100% a game the three of us would play. Nick, you can build entire civilizations.
We should play the forest first, and then we should play Sons of the Forest because it's basically its.
I would be
sequel.
very down for the same thing.
I've watched gameplay footage. I like the whole entire first game. I know the story and everything. Fucking weird. I'm excited to see where the sequel goes.
Cool. Everything I've heard is just it's an upgrade of the last
Yep,
game.
that's what I heard, and the story is way more engaging. I've heard, but also the server you can have up to 8 people on, the dynamic AI, the like the cannibals who like will basically prod you, and then the weird experiments and shit that have gone awry. I'm just
cool.
very intrigued. I'm just very
looks
intrigued.
cool.
However, I am not playing a building zombie survival sim without him.
Oh yeah.
It's just not gonna happen. It's
Speaking
just
of his forte,
like if there is any video game that I will get Nick to play, it's Sons of the Forest.
Oh yeah.
My job is to build. It's Mike's job to organize, and Pat does everything else.
He digs the trenches.
I'm so glad to be the workhorse in those games. Like, so speaking of games that you're gonna have a hard time convincing me to play.
It definitely looks like it says cock steady.
Ambulance.
So, I guess you know what we're talking about right now. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League had a very big feature. It was the headlining event at the Sony State of Play. And divisive is an understatement on this one because it seems like Marvel Disney and Warner Brothers DC have done everything in their power to take their multi-billion-dollar franchises and make the worst video games possible. And by that, I mean live service co-op shooters. And god damn it, this did not need to be that. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and play it because I will reserve judgment until I actually play it because this is the first Rocksteady game since 2015. It does take place in the Arkham universe. So it is a continuation of that story.
And we got Kevin Conroy, friend of the
Final
show.
performance as
A lot of final performances in this show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. So basically, the story is here that Brainiac has taken control of the Justice League and the Suicide Squad, which in this game is composed of Captain Boomerang, King Shark, Harley Quinn, and Deadshot, are tasked with killing them to stop them taking over Metropolis. I am glad that they moved away from Gotham, that they're in Metropolis, that the other members of the Justice League are in this game. And I was excited at the prospect of you playing as unlikely heroes having to stop literally the most powerful beings on the force. I mean, on the planet, because that's the novelty of the Suicide Squad. You know what I mean? They're the last resort. However, this doesn't need to be. This never needed to be a live service game. That being said,
I don't know what live service means. So for me and the rest of the audience, what does that mean?
Number one, constant internet connection. Whether you're
If you're playing
single player or even
fuck that.
So
Yeah, you cannot play this game single player mode without an active
look
internet
at the
connection.
gameplay. It doesn't this doesn't look awful. I know a lot of people are really apprehensive about it because it is like a lot of shooting.
It looks like Fortnite.
It looks like the
Kind of.
dodgeball game that came out last year.
However,
remember
I mean,
that.
Captain Boomerang does.
It looks so much like Fortnite to me.
looks
like
a
like
lot
this
like-
mechanic where like zoom in over the shoulder, like all of these quick, those like jostling movements are so Fortnite.
It reminds me a lot of Sunset Overdrive. Like a lot of Sunset Overdrive. But like, so here's the problem I have with these fucking games, right? Is that
It also doesn't
you're
look
not
great.
designing a world, enemies, and gameplay around a certain character. You're designing a world, enemies, and gameplay, and then trying to shoehorn a character into that.
A bunch of characters.
All of the controls need to, like, this button, it does this type of move. Okay, how do we make that move for everybody?
What is my
Okay,
ranged
let's
attack? What is my melee
Exactly.
attack?
Let's make Captain Boomerang a speedster as well so he can run up walls and jump really high. Let's give Deadshot a jetpack. Let's give Harley Quinn a grappling gun. Let's just make King Shark jump really high. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying is
And
that
swim through the air
swim
somehow.
through the air, yes. Which in video game context, if the gameplay works out, this is fine. I mean, like, dude, you're still seeing frame drops and this thing's coming out in a few months.
Yeah, look at these.
like, yeah.
It is janky.
Yeah. So, like I said, very divisive response because a lot of people say the gameplay looks mid. I reserve that you can't really judge gameplay until you get your fucking hands on it.
It looks hardcore mid. Dude, I'm sorry.
I mean the finishers,
Like
that looks
even
cool.
even with that finisher,
The finisher doesn't save a game.
but like that just zoomed out and did that. I was like, it didn't have any fun, cool camera angles. Like it just seems uninspired.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing here is that I think WB at the time was trying to create this live service environment because a lot of people also say this looks like Gotham Knights with a budget. And that honestly probably is the truth because I know I've not to, get lost in the weeds, but there's 4 Batman Arkham games and only 3 of them were made by Rocksteady. WB wanted 2 a year and Rocksteady said, well, we can't meet that. We want to actually take our time and make a great game. So, WB took their IP and they went to Warner Brother Montreal as their game studio, and they made Batman Arkham Origins. Still a good game, arguably the worst Arkham game though, because it's literally more of the same. They did nothing to change the trajectory of these games because they couldn't, because Rocksteady set the precedent, right? So that's the thing that happened with Gotham Knights. That was made by WB Montreal, another live service co-op game that had currency and cosmetics and all that shit and stuff that shouldn't have been in that game. Whereas this game, so WB Montreal is basically what I'm saying is that they make fucking aggressively mid games.
Yeah.
Rocksteady has never made a mid game, and these are the guys that set the standard for single player action adventure games. Like that combat system that they made is literally
Used throughout
every fucking game since. Like Arkham City is usually hailed.
Can you go back like 10 seconds? Just hit like the left. One more. All right.
That's Luthor.
Yeah, that's Luthor. You're fine with that. I felt there was some glitch in the that I might have seen. There's
this animation
in like the animation, like he might have like jostled or jumped or something, but keep going. I just wanted to see again.
I just wanted to make sure.
I just want to make sure my eyes, leave it. Yeah,
so
that's
the
fine.
presentation though looks better than Gotham Knights so far,
Yes, the pre-rendered cutscenes look great.
No, that's all in engine.
That's in engine?
Yeah, that's 100% in engine. They don't do pre-rendered cutscenes. They do in engine stuff. The game, like I said, the game looks better, the presentation looks better, and even if you think the gameplay doesn't look like it's anything revolutionary, it does look way more fluid than Gotham Knights. It looks like there's a constant momentum to it, right?
It's not saying much.
Compared to Gotham Knights, yeah.
I like the Flash suit.
This
Pretty
though,
cool.
right here, this thing that they do right here, actually, and I'm glad that we're at this point in the trailer. This is actually awesome.
Ooh.
Listen to what he says.
How do I stop this?
She looks great.
Please, tell me how.
Come on.
You have to kill us, Diana.
Like, so if it comes from the lasso of truth, it's undeniable. Like, you're gonna have to kill the Justice League. It's,
Yeah.
There's
Harley Quinn was like, hell yeah.
and that, like I said, the presentation of this is a lot better compared to WB's last game. Their last game is Hogwarts Legacy now.
Different.
Yeah, compared to and then this is just some interviews and some stuff about the gameplay that we already saw. But my point is just that like this has already soured people's I guess you could say hype for it because we had Avengers, which was live service horse shit that nobody liked. We had Gotham Knights, which was also live service horse shit that nobody liked. And then
Let's make a third.
The only thing I can say for this is that they have picked a group of characters that are all kind of within the same wheelhouse as far as movesets are concerned. And because they are so similar, the map and the area has been designed to complement that, as opposed to like if in the Avengers game you could have 4 people on a team with wildly different powers, right? And there's just floating platforms just randomly, so Spider-Man can like get up on a thing, or somebody can grab it and make.
I mean, they have like that in here.
Right, but the difference is nobody else flies, and Iron Man can just zoom all over
Yeah,
the map.
okay.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying is that like it's like I said, this is I think going to be a little bit more eloquently designed as far as the live service game is concerned. Like I think the best version of the game that they're making is going to come out, but I don't think people are going to like it. Is basically what I'm going to say because Rocksteady has never made a bad game, and like I can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater with this. You can't.
Fair.
They just have too much. They set too many precedents. They changed too many attitudes in the industry, specifically towards superhero licensed games. You know what I mean?
My question is, how hard is it to have a varied set of characters, and just do here's 3 out of 4 of your D-pad buttons: melee, ranged, special, and then one other thing. Like, how hard is that?
You are describing Donkey Kong 64.
Exactly. How hard is that?
Pristine pinnacle of gaming. But to the same
The
thing.
collectathon, yeah.
Right, yeah. I mean, you're collecting a ton of shit, but also it was like, yeah, you can't get here unless you can do this little fly thing, or you can't get here with that character. And
Which,
it's-
like I said, I think that there
They'll
will
probably
be
have.
that too. You know, they'll have missions specific to different characters, and we saw some cutscene footage earlier too when this game came up previously on our show. And like I said, the writing was on point. It was funny. That set the tone really well. It was a very tense scene. Like these Rocksteady are not only are they great developers, but they're good storytellers too. Those fucking Batman stories that they tell in those video games are awesome, especially how they incorporate all of the characters, you know, like a living, breathing Gotham. Now they're doing that with Metropolis. They're doing that with the Suicide Squad. They're doing that with Superman villains. You know,
Yeah.
they're doing that with the Suicide Squad. So it's kind of like they opened up this sandbox that they can now play in, right?
And it's a good story. Like it reminds me a lot of like Injustice type kind of things.
Exactly. I
and
don't hate the premise.
like
you know,
that alone, where you're like, if you just set up the game and you were like, we have to kill the Justice League, you have an entire level just devoted to each of them in a really cool kind of way.
Yeah.
And structure around that. And I think that feels to me like a classic Batman movie.
yes.
Because it's like you have the one villain and you have, you know, Mr. Freeze's
Yes.
lair. It feels a lot like they could do it in that way, and it'd be really cool.
Yeah. Like I said, this is 4-player co-op. And my whole question is, I hope that they looked at the Avengers game when they were like, how do we not make that?
Do you think they're going to incorporate LeBron James as a playable character?
Okay.
They might. And Rick and Morty. Well, maybe not anymore.
There is going to be a battle pass, and there will be currencies. However, they have clarified that this battle pass is strictly for cosmetics, which Ubisoft did the whole fucking point multiplier thing for the Assassin's Creed
So
games.
dumb.
And they're dumb because what they didn't realize is that I just like to do follow the icon, and I didn't need that multiplier. Valhalla, I did buy it though. I bought the multiplier just because I wanted to get that game over with because it sucked.
Yes.
But yeah, this has the community divided at this point, and man, you go to that subreddit,
Letty.
it is on fire right now. There are lots of this game look. And nobody here is like, this game looks amazing, I can't wait to play it. It's like gameplay looks fun, but I hate that it's a live service. And then there's other people who are like, fuck all of this. Like, I'm not even gonna buy this because I don't want to encourage this type of shit. And really, the only live service game that they figured out, I think, or I guess live services game that they figured out, Fortnite, Apex Legends, League of Legends, and Destiny. But Destiny's really the only one that like that they take this model from. You know what I mean? Because the MOBA,
Yeah.
because League of Legends is like that's a competitive.
That's kind of more one-on-one.
Yeah. Well, it's
not one-on-one, but you know what I mean.
It's a competitive game though. That's why people still play. It's also, you know, it's toxic, but I guess people like it. Once again, Apex is a BR. Fortnite is permeated with. It's such a good entry level for not competitive, but just gaming in general. Like you can download it and get going
On your
when you're
phone.
9 years
Yeah.
old. You know what I mean? But Destiny is the one. My friend who plays Destiny, he's in a 90-person guild.
Jesus.
And he raids 2 times a week. And he said, Destiny is the best game. I would never recommend to anybody because it's a great game, but it's like World of Warcraft,
yeah.
you know?
It'll
I've heard
Getcha.
if you play it, you get to be Superman.
In World what?
Yeah,
What?
Henry Cavill. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna do this is for me.
Shut the fuck up, bitch.
Okay. All right. Cool. So anyway, yeah, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. I'm gonna check it out when it comes out. You know, if Skillup gives it a good review, I'll check it out. You know.
I'm excited to watch all the cutscenes in a YouTube compilation.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, kind of like I did with the Injustice games. Great story.
Exactly.
I'll never play a fighting game though. So we saw a movie this week with lots of drugs in it. We saw Cocaine Bear. I wrote down non-spoiler spoiler. However,
LOL.
I don't think that we need to do a non-spoiler because if
There's
you've
not
seen,
really a story.
if you've seen the trailer to this movie.
You've seen this movie.
You got it. It's all right there. And the only thing I can say that is non-spoiler would be the 4 minutes the bear is on screen are not even. They are the best parts of the movie. After that, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. In some parts I was in shock that listen. Humor is very subjective, right? And I thought about this before I wanted to talk about this because I wanted to get this right. I think humor is extremely subjective. I will not be the one to tell you what is and isn't funny.
I will.
However,
it wasn't really funny.
However, what I will say is that I did not find this funny at all, and 90% of the people in my theater did not find this funny either because it was silent. Besides for one dude down in front that cracked up at every joke.
The dude that was high on coke was absolutely losing his mind.
He had me laughing more than the movie did. Like, don't get me wrong, I had some chuckles here and there, and I thought some of the kills were pretty gruesome, but even then, they dropped the ball. They dropped the 8 ball, bro.
Dropped it. Nick, you want to talk?
Nick, why don't you kick us off here? We'll just do spoilers. It's fine.
Let's just do general overview before we get into any critiques. I went into this expecting it to be a Pineapple Express action adventure, but with a lot of dirty humor, and it just is not that. So if you do intend to see this movie, it's just an action. Not even horror, but it's gruesome action. That's all it really is.
Yeah.
You know what? You're absolutely right. I'm glad you said that because I felt like this motherfucker never got going.
No.
Never ever did I feel that there was a scene that's all right, the plot has started. You know what I mean?
It was also incredibly slow. It was the longest hour and a half of my life.
I've never been on my phone so much in
Honestly.
a movie.
in a theater.
Yeah.
I mean, my whole take with this, it's Nick, I had a lot of the same kind of sentiment where I was like, we saw the trailer, we knew what we were going into. I thought it would be kind of kooky, fun, crazy, a little bit more. It's rated R, and it's pretty much just rated R for the gore. Mm-hmm. It sits in an uncanny valley of comedy for me. It's trying to do certain things and then doesn't do it well, and it kind of just is cringy. And
do you want my assessment of why that is?
I'll see if it's this, because it's I think it's a script issue because there are 6 side plots with each individual kind of group of characters that when you have so many characters like that, you can't dive into them and you have to make them very superficial.
So we'll tell that to Avengers fucking,
I know,
but Infinity War.
I think that completely hit it at the knees. Because Nick, the note I wrote, I was I want Danny McBride to be the drug dealer.
Yes.
I was if you're gonna have it a premise where it's a cocaine bear just absolutely wreaking havoc on people, those other characters need to be crazy as hell to keep this entertaining.
There was you know what? You're absolutely right. There was no eccentricity to any of these characters, any of these locations. None of them were interesting or entertaining at all. There's also this weird twist, 20 minutes before the movie ends, that goes absolutely nowhere. I forgot that character was even in the movie.
Yep.
There's there's too much going on that doesn't involve the bear,
but
when
also nothing happened.
Exactly.
alright.
But when the bear shows up and those fucking attack scenes happen, you're like, all right,
is
where the
crazy.
fuck was this? Like and like I said, I think it's one of those things where you guys are gonna fucking beat me over the head for this. They established a tone in the first 30 seconds. I was like, all right, if this is what we're doing, I'm in for it. And then the first scene gone.
It was all over the place.
Gone.
It's Pineapple Express is the perfect thing because the beginning of Pineapple Express is Bill Hader in like the military base right before they like outlaw like weed entirely.
Right. Yeah.
And you get kind of the same thing with this. You get a crazy dude on coke throwing it out of a plane. It's like, okay, cool. We get energy. We have like weirdness. We have
and the
quirkiness.
scene with the couple too. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? After that scene, and there's that really hilarious like leg throw thing.
Yeah.
But
That they used several times.
18 times. Yeah.
But the funny part about that was after that horrific scene happens, the bear just like playfully follows a butterfly, and then the title screen flashes, and I'm like, all right, I get what we're going for. I'm in. No, not even. That was like the 2 minutes of inspiration that they had for this.
Yeah.
You know?
So, going back to my diagnosis of what went wrong here, I agree that this is horribly miscast. All great actors. I thought it was like a really great cast. But there was there needs to be the Bill Haders, the Danny McBrides, the Swedish guy in the beginning should have been Will Ferrell in a funny wig.
Yes.
All these types of things. And on top of that, I don't have a problem with the fact that there's all these side stories going on. That's fine if you make it work. You can balance it well, but it's clearly just there because there's no meat on the bone of the cocaine bear premise.
It's fodder.
They're stretching it out, and that's why the timing of the comedy was really weird, because rather than it being quick and snappy and funny, everything is stretched out and feels like they're trying to make it dramatic when it should be. These lines are clearly written to be jokes, but they're playing them straight.
Which is so weird. So like,
That's perfect. Yeah, that uncanny valley thing is that.
if I were to do a tinfoil hat moment here, I truthfully, not only do I think this is a fundamental issue with the movie, I think audience expectation for sure has changed on what a comedy is and isn't, or is and is not. Because for years we had actual comedians in
Doing comedy.
like. Do you guys remember like? Obviously, like, there was comedies like 60s, 70s, like all that shit. But I'm talking the specific era that we grew up in, the Judd Apatow era.
golden
That's what
era.
I'll call it. Okay.
I will call all of those, like the Will Ferrell, like the Step
exactly.
Brothers.
I
the
love all that. But the
Anchorman,
thing was,
like-
is like those movies, like a lot of people who I know who work in film say, I love those movies, but they look like shit. Of
course.
The reason that they look like shit is because they are generally lit for just the comedians to go wild. So in case they use the set, choose the scenery, whatever, you get it. You got the take. You know
It's
what I mean?
got
There's-
soap opera lighting.
Exactly. There's nothing that you have to pick up for, like make them do again that's insincere.
and it serves its purpose.
Exactly. Now here's the problem. A lot of those comedians now are a lot older and they took on serious roles. I don't think you have that same wealth of comedy because now all of the comedians that are popular don't want to be in movies. They have their podcasts, they have their stand-up, they have their online series, you know what I mean? So you're not going to get that pool of talent anymore. So instead, you're taking in these serious actors who, dude, Ray Liotta was painful in this movie. I could not
he was one of the
believe-
better performances just because at least he committed
act.
to
Yes,
it.
exactly, because he's
actor.
an actor, and like he did have some funny, like he said some things that he had funny lines, but they were funny because of the way he said them, not because they were written
Right.
to
Yes.
be funny. You know what I mean?
It's really weird how you can really like. Now I'm thinking about it. O'Shea Jackson Jr. I haven't seen any of his other work, but it's like clearly that role was written for Craig Robinson.
Yes.
not him.
Oh my
That's
God.
what I'm saying is that like this movie, that as far as the cast is concerned, it was horribly miscast in the sense of like, listen, O'Shea Jackson Jr., his first big role was Straight Outta Compton playing his dad, and he was fucking incredible in
Yeah.
that movie. After that, he's done other things too, but he was in the second Godzilla movie, another straight, like play it straight movie. He's great in that. This though, I felt like it would like, first of all, he's like super out of shape, like, which is really weird.
It's fine. Like, you know, he's a drug dude.
And then number two,
He's a drug man.
Number two, it was once again just like I just felt like he didn't understand the material, but even then the material wasn't strong enough, you know what I mean?
But I think that feels to me more like a direction problem than like a performance, because it was just universal. Everybody was not doing comedy. It wasn't any particular performers that weren't nailing it. Everybody was on the same level.
Oh, you mean like there was nobody one-upping each other, you know?
Right.
What I mean?
Nobody was playing it as a goofy comedy except for the Swedish guy. Yeah. He just wasn't great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, I think we're all in complete alignment. If it was if they had, I mean, obviously they can't do it for budget, but if they just took and they brought like a bunch of random comedians, like what I'm thinking of is in Anchorman, that big fight scene where you have like Ben Stiller and you have
The streets will run red with burgundy.
Yeah, where you have all of these people kind of like randomly come in and like that's the joke it's them and
it's
like that
not
would have
meant to be sincere.
Yes,
that's
and
the
this
funny part.
whole thing is half sincere.
Exactly.
This movie is one of those movies that would have just randomly been like playing on Comedy Central left and right
Yes.
when we were
Yes,
younger, and
absolutely.
like that, like a beer fest type of like
yes.
like
yes.
which they served their purpose entirely, but goddamn, I was like, I didn't laugh once in this
Nope.
movie.
Me and like
There was some chuckles.
like
and that
I
was
had
about
some
it.
chuckles.
The only one was when the dude was hanging upside down.
Jesse Tyler Ferguson?
Yeah, when he like pats his shirt with the cocaine and then he's hanging upside down and his leg gets pulled off and all the blood's just like coming down and it looks so much like syrup.
I thought it was hilarious.
So you weren't laughing at the joke, you were laughing at the special effect.
I was
I was
laughing, and
laughing
he's
at
just
the
like
horrible special
yeah, and he's
effects,
just like
yeah.
like
he was a
upside
weird
down.
choice too.
So-
Not that he was good or bad or anything. It was just like, this was like, that should be Bill Hader.
So before we jump into the nitty gritty of it, let's just give it a base grade. I don't even know what number I'd give this. A fucking 3. Watch the bear scenes on YouTube when the Blu-ray comes out. There you go. That's what I can say because I don't know who made this. Who put this out?
This is Universal.
Elizabeth Banks directed.
Oh, that's the other thing too. Okay, you know we'll get to that. Yeah, this is Universal. Yeah, Universal.
Oh, and
Pictures.
this was Lord and Miller produced.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very
Which was
strange.
Which was I was not expecting.
Yeah.
I saw their names in the credits. I was like, okay, this could be funny.
Yeah.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
It is not.
All right. So the
I don't even know, like, because it wasn't a terrible misfire or it was just like
it didn't land either way. You know what I mean?
I would just give it a solid 5, right down the fucking middle.
I'm with, when I went into thinking this, I was like, it's a 3. I was
Yeah.
like, this is a movie again. Like, I would not pay to see this.
This is a movie, like I said, there's movies that I would give like a 5 and 6s. I'd be like, check it out. You might get more out of it than me. Specifically, my one friend, Zach, he asked me how Ant-Man was. I said I didn't like it. He goes, should I still watch it? And I said, yes, you should absolutely watch it because
it's got an
you might
84% audience score
like,
on Rotten
you
Tomatoes.
might get
you
more-
probably will
you might
like
get
it.
more out of it than me. But this score, but if we're talking about Rotten Tomato scores, the fucking audience score and the critic score for this are the same.
Really? What is
Yes,
it?
I think
is
it's like
weird.
73, 71. I think there might be actually a 2-point difference now that I say it.
70? Holy shit! I'm shocked.
I did see an interesting take about when like people were like reviewing it, and they were like, these type of movies serve a purpose because we have so much like superhero and big dramatic films. They're like, you need shit like this that's just gonna kind of funnel a couple people in on a
Cable's
Friday.
not going to fill in all these slots by itself.
Yeah.
They need to fill time.
they were like, if you go and you see there are these big, heavy-hitting, massive movies. It's like you kind of need some, shoveling shit to get people in the theaters again, and then they're more likely to go back to others. And
There's normally when if we're talking about the outward reviews, normally when I see like a Rotten Tomato score and it's like a movie that has a big fandom that gets a rotten score from the critics, but it gets a really high score from the fans, I'm like, copium. We're here to ingest copium on this.
Yeah.
I go, but if I see a score from a movie that the critics love but the audiences hate, I was like, okay, high art. All right, that's not what they don't like that. Then
Nomadland.
this though, exactly. This though, I cannot crack the code on the RT scores. How the critics, I swear to Christ, it has to be because Elizabeth Banks' name is the director, because this is the 3rd movie she's made that's like this. It gets the same goddamn score on Rotten Tomatoes as the Charlie's Angels movie that she did. Audience also hated that one too. Like, she's just not a good director. I'm sorry. Like, it's just, directors are supposed to have a vision and be able to translate that vision, and this is the third one of these that it just hasn't come together. Fucking Yui Bold, for how bad his movies are, at least there's thought behind them, you know? Like,
This is the kind of movie that your dad's gonna watch on like Vudu in a few years.
Yeah. you know?
Like, I'm with you. I'm like, it's not even stoner humor.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's if it was like, if I got it that way, it'd be like the audience loved this because people are just getting like high or drunk and going and seeing this and being like, like
it's silly.
But it's not.
No. That's what it should be. It
Yes.
should be silly.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it's not.
It's played straight with comedy writing, and it doesn't work.
Check out
Perfect.
this review on Rotten Tomatoes. It's far from the outrageous horror comedy viewers anticipated, but it's not unbearable.
Unbearable.
To me, it's like this. I didn't walk out of the theater like, wow, I hated that. I didn't hate it, but I was just really disappointed.
I just didn't want to watch it. Like halfway into it, I was like, I have to see this through, obviously. But this is a movie where I would have just cut my losses and went to the food court.
If we weren't reviewing it, I may have walked out.
Yeah, because I'm like, I know exactly how this will go.
Do you want to know the one thing that I was surprised did not happen? We'll get into spoiler territory.
Yeah, it's actually, let's just wrap up with the score. I gave it a 3.
3.
3.
I'll give it a 5.
So 4. Okay, so 4 out of 10.
Skip it.
Yeah, skip
It's
skip
very
it.
skippable.
Skip it. Like I said, watch the bear scenes on YouTube. All right, let's do spoilers. Nick, you go ahead, kick us off.
The one thing that I was really shocked didn't happen, because so much of this was just predictable by the numbers, was you have Aaron Reich's character who his whole thing is that his wife died and now he has abandoned his son. Then you have the other lead, Carrie Russell, who is a single mom raising a rebellious daughter, and I'm like, okay,
you're like,
perfect. At the end of the movie, they have this moment where his friend has now been shot, and she's a nurse, and they're gonna come together and find love, in an unlikely circumstance, and it just never materialized. I'm like, how did you make the most generic movie and miss that?
Nick,
Yes.
I literally the same exact thing. I was like, okay, like when that was set up, I was like, great, that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
And then the movie ended, and I was like, did
Carrie Russell's,
that happen? Like,
Carrie Russell's motivation in this movie is walk to the other side. That's all she does. There's nothing else that she does besides for just
keep
walk.
keep going.
Just keep going. You know what, Nick? I'm glad that you brought that up. That it
was Aaron Reich.
that it was all Aaron Reich, because when he first came on screen, I was like, yo, they got Sebastian Stan in this. And then when they got closer, I was like, oh, thank Christ.
Yeah.
But the interesting part is that they could have done a montage of like them getting ready for school in the morning and like visual cues and everything, like set up these characters and then get, maybe at the halfway point, get to that point where our characters intersect. But it just feels like all the characters are super disconnected, like disjointed the whole movie. And then specifically, what's I think really weird is that, like, I don't know how to put this into words. It just like, it felt like when they were in the edit, you know what I mean? They were like, we got to move some scenes around to maybe try and make it work a little bit.
I get that.
And specifically the one I'm talking about.
I know which one it is.
Because there's a really hard cut just out of nowhere. Like it was almost like they had 5 more pages of dialogue, and someone was like, "Nah, just cut them off mid-sentence, whatever." It's the crime scene where he's trying to give the dog to the girl and or when he gets in the car. She asks him a question like, how many years have you whatever? And he's like, and you expect him to give like here's his character, here it is. And he goes, something like, I don't know, however many. Boom, done. Like that's like just cut, and they're into like the bear woods already. It's like
The bear woods.
What was happening in there?
They're just like, we don't give a shit about these
the editor was
people.
like, I need to get rid of this because it's so bad.
But
like,
see, that was one of the. I have 2 things. That was one of the scenes that I felt like it was dragged out really long for no reason.
Yes, I felt
where
the
he's
same
like,
way.
You had a dog. Did it play fetch? Which is like, that would have been a funny line if it was quick and
if it was
snappy.
comedy.
Yeah, but it wasn't played for comedy. The editing thing that I'm fucking confused about was Ray Liotta and O'Shea Jackson and Alden Ehrenreich show up to the cave. Oh, and that the lady cop who was involved
This
for
was weird
no
too,
reason.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
get to the cave. And they're like, we don't have to do this. Remember that hiker that we saw? And then they cut back to 2 minutes prior. Why didn't you just reverse the
It's
scenes?
like had the once again had the
I didn't even
tone
realize-
had the tone of that had the tone of this been established to be like silly and hilarious. Like, I mean, for Christ's sake, We're the Millers is one of the most unfunny movies ever written, but at least some of the no regrets. So, like,
Yeah.
at least that joke is funny because you go into it knowing that it's a stupid fucking comedy. Whereas this, it's played straight the entire time. So when this weird flashback comes up where they just scream, I was like, why didn't they just do that? You
yeah,
know what I mean?
and then get to the cave.
Yeah.
So I do have a list here of some here. Honestly, these are some of the other comedy horror films that have come out recently that I think that this was trying to pit itself up against, and it just did not happen. One, we have Megan, obviously, that just came out. Freaky, which is a riff on Freaky Friday. Catherine Newton is in it, and Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn plays the serial killer, and they switch bodies.
What?
I don't know.
I
About
haven't heard about that at all.
Ready or Not, which have you guys seen that movie? Awesome. You specifically would love it, I
Ready or
think.
Not. What's
Ready or
that
Not's
one?
the one where they get married and she goes to like the family's
Oh, yeah, with Adam Brody.
mansion. Samara Weaving, I believe, is
Yeah,
the
Samara.
Samara Weaving, I think, is the main character, and basically they have to play a game to like induct her into the family,
Oh,
and
yeah,
accidentally
yeah.
they pick hide and seek, and like you have to murder your way out.
Yeah.
Tusk, which is the Kevin Smith.
Yep.
God, what's that guy who's in every fucking horror movie? Justin Long
Justin
movie.
Long with his fun mustache.
Happy Death Day, Cabin in the Woods. I mean, for all intents and purposes, Ghostbusters, Zombieland, Jennifer's Body. Even going far back as Gremlins was another one I thought of. The one I kept coming back to though, Shaun of the Dead. I was like,
as it the tone should have been.
The tone should have been, because Shaun of the Dead is silly, 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 right? But since the characters are written so well, when they do the sincere moments, you
Yeah.
give a shit. Specifically when he has to kill his own mother.
Yeah.
That is one of the hardest fucking scenes in like a comedy horror movie. You know what I mean?
And everybody, like, it's clearly established what everybody's relationships are, and the jokes are worked into their relationships. It's not just funny for the sake of being funny.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, when you have such a diverse group of people, like, and just so many of them, and you only have an hour and a half of like runtime with this, it's like if you
only they fucking struggled
I know.
to get to an hour and a
but
half.
if you have like 6 people, or like randomly some people aligned, other people not, then like yes and no all commonly against a bear, kind of. Like, it just didn't go into any of them that I was like, anybody can die, I don't give a shit.
I mean, Christ, even think of like movies like What We Do in the Shadows or like American Werewolf in London. Like, those are way better comedy horror movies than this shit was. I
this
mean,
wasn't even a comedy.
Krampus, that's another one of the fucking Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like, so I think once again, you could watch all of that I just listed, and you'll have a way better time than watching this movie.
You know what I liked better? I liked better than this movie. Every single trailer for the upcoming movies in the next few months that played before this movie.
Yes, absolutely. Specifically March, dude. Oh my God, March. So many goddamn
Get
movies
ready.
coming out this month.
Dude, the Evil Dead
Did you guys-
sequel
did you
looks
guys-
fucking incredible.
Did you guys know John Wick 4 is coming out in 2
Hell
weeks?
yeah.
I
I had no, but I will be seeing that shit. So speaking of seeing this movie, let's talk about some box office numbers. Opening night, this did $8.5 million on a Thursday preview.
So I try to get it in.
8.5.
That's what she said. Anyway, yeah, I know. I'm almost 30, and I made it. That's what she said joke. So they made $8.5 million on Thursday. It's a pretty strong opening for a smaller film like this. Didn't do great overall though. Overall, domestically, I'm not sure if this counts today. $23 million for the first weekend. Now, had this been a Scream movie that was made for $12 million, that would have been no problem.
This was made for 30 something, right?
35.
Yeah.
How? It's got to be the
all
CGI.
the CGI on
but
that
it
bear.
doesn't even look.
The bear looks okay.
He looks okay. Yeah, he
But-
doesn't look great.
It,
But that's
for,
fine.
It for
That's
sure.
We've seen better
We've seen
CGI bears, and Leonardo DiCaprio is here to tell you about it. International though, absolute misfire.
Of course.
Made $5.3 million overall. It didn't even make. It
This
made
is-
just
this is
over.
a movie.
This
It's
is an
America.
American
It's
movie.
a fucking American meme movie. So you guys know the real story behind the bear, right? It ate
Yes.
the cocaine, had a great time for 3 hours, and then its entire internal organs and structure burned from the inside out, and it died. Like
That
that.
didn't kill anybody.
It didn't continually eat bricks of coke.
So,
And feed it to its children.
The cocaine cubs.
That's the sequel.
That will be the fucking sequel.
you guys, actually, you want to know the
Cocaine
real?
Bear will
you want to know the
return.
real sequels that have been thrown around? Like actually,
I know what you're talking.
Cocaine sheep.
Adderall alligator
Oh no.
and crystal meth puppies. Yo,
I
did you
want
guys see the
Adderall
trailer?
alligator.
The trailer for the with the dogs that are voiced by all.
Yeah.
Yeah. That looked actually funny. Not this shit.
I was like, oh, I haven't seen one of these types of movies with talking dogs in 15, 20 years. And then it took that hard turn. And I was like, oh, fuck, this is
Yeah.
going to be good.
Yeah.
This is the tone that Cocaine Bear should have.
That's the
Exactly,
thing. When they were like
exactly.
rated R, I was like, we're good.
That Renfield movie, they had a Red Band trailer for it in my screening of it, which is, they finally get to see like the gore and the jokes. I was not on board with that shit before. After I saw this,
I didn't
newest
get the
trailer,
Red Band.
After I saw the newest trailer and I got to see all the blood and guts and all the cursing and everything, I am fucking in. Even Aquafina looks good in that movie, and I hated her.
I
in
know.
Shang-Chi.
You did not enjoy her acting.
I think that might have been they just gave her too long of a leash. They just be Aquafina,
Yeah.
just do whatever. So give her a
and-
script. That's
and-
all you got to
and-
do. She'll
Exactly.
be fine.
Once again, it's another Nicolas Cage movie that looks awesome. So that is also on my list. It reminds me a lot of that movie Warm Bodies. Do you remember that? Where
Is that the
Nicholas-
with also Nicholas
Yeah.
Nicholas
Holt?
Holt is he plays a zombie who falls in love with a
Oh yeah,
with a
the teenage
real
girl or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. It's a different time. Anyway,
Wait, was he also a teenager?
at that time,
she's younger, right? Like
no. I think the only difference is that she's alive and he's dead, so she continues to age technically.
oh,
And he continues to
Existential.
decompose.
Yeah. So
Dude, I can't get over that the Evil Dead
Rise.
Evil Dead Rise. That movie looks fucking killer.
I can't wait to see
I know.
that.
What's that other horror one that's
you mentioned that to me earlier, or a couple weeks ago. You were like, "Have you seen the trailer for Evil Dead Rise?" I said, "I did see it. However, I'm a little apprehensive about it, considering the circumstances around its release."
I don't know the circumstances.
And what I meant by that is that it was a movie that was made for a streaming service, and then when fans heard that there's another Evil Dead movie coming around, it spread across the internet. They're like, we should throw this in theaters, while you know what I mean. But then I saw the trailer for it, like on the big screen, like the Red Band trailer that I had, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be fucking sick. There's this one part where she swallows a hook. I was wincing at just that. I was like, all right, this is it. This is gonna be the one.
The Boogeyman looks pretty good too.
That looks good too. Yeah, damn, dude, it's
going good.
So the best part about Cocaine Bear is the trailers.
The trailers.
Is
I'm
the trailers
hyped.
for other movies. So, anything else we have to mention? The only thing that we didn't mention was the horror aspect of this movie.
Margaret Martindale.
Yeah,
She was in it.
She was the park ranger.
Oh, okay.
You mean it was supposed to be Melissa McCarthy, but they got
Yeah.
Margot Martindale?
Who
I would've-
did it better?
She was great.
I think that
always
I
great.
Yeah, she always is. But it's
the
like
TikToker.
what-
The TikToker played one of the
Tig
EMTs.
Notaro.
Yeah, Tig Notaro.
Yeah,
That's right,
the
Tig.
TikTok dude who had his wrist
Yeah.
slashed and busted.
So there's a couple scenes where they try to build tension, and I think only one of them really works, and that's when he opens up the back door and the bear comes out of the shadows, and like that one thing, like the head just rolls out and everything. Like it's like I want to see that happen in the most absurd way possible. Like when she shot the back of that guy's face off. You know what I mean? Like that was shocking. It came out of nowhere, and that's what made that
part.
moment funny. But then when I just see a bunch of mutilated corpses, like this isn't funny.
Yeah.
Watching them get mutilated in ridiculous circumstances is the shock and the comedy of it, you know?
They tried to do like a Jaws thing where
Yes.
you don't
It was
see
very
this,
Jaws.
Yeah.
which I get, like, for sure, because
It's a monster movie.
they had no money to continually CGI the bear.
Yeah, any movie
That's
that
1,000,000% the reason.
That's the shark breaking down
Yeah.
on set of Jaws.
any
Yeah.
movie that has an animal going after people in any capacity is immediately a Jaws ripoff. That's just how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what we didn't mention yet?
But I was gonna say the ambulance scene on top of that.
The ambulance scene was probably the best
She
part
gets
of the
her
whole
fucking
movie.
face
Face.
dragged down, like sanded down into nothing, and then, dude, when she fucking hits that tree, goes out the windshield and clips it on the way. I was like, I just wish her face was more fucking smashed up. You know what I mean? Like, I just got finished watching Terrifier 2, which is probably the goriest thing I've seen in my
I'll
life.
never watch that.
I couldn't. It was rough. It was at some points I found myself trying to fast forward. I was like, all right, we get it.
Like,
Like,
please
Jesus
stop.
Christ. Like, but I found myself, even though I think the gore was really good in the parts where they decided to get gory, I would have liked it to have been executed a little bit more creatively, like,
Yeah.
which would make it funny. You
Yeah.
know?
We haven't mentioned like the hoodlums and that hang out in the bathroom and stab O'Shea Jackson Jr.
My fucking jersey.
They were supposed to be like I would say like they should have been like the hooligans in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
And I think some of the best performances were the two kids, Carrie Russell's kid and and her friend, were the best actors in the whole movie.
I thought the whole thing I thought when I was watching, I was like, kids are cute.
Stranger Things.
How they didn't die from ingesting all of that cocaine.
Kids are resilient.
And they coughed it all out.
I love when the one guy's like, my throat's kind of scratchy.
He's like, it's really runny.
yeah, exactly.
I think actually thinking about it, the two funny moments in the movie for me, when the ambulance drivers come into the thing and they're like, they called about a concussion. Like, what the fuck happened here? I was like, that's pretty good. And then the kid at the end is like, I'm so fucking tired.
Yeah, that was good.
We were
That was it.
all tired.
I think,
at
I
that
think we
point.
all felt the come down of the cocaine bear.
I'm a little upset that this is Ray Liotta's last final complete performance. He does have a couple movies still in the can that he did not finish work on. However, they're gonna find.
We'll
a way
CGI
around it.
him.
Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna Paul Walker him.
They're gonna everybody him.
Dude, they're fucking. Don't even get me started on Fast and the Furious. So
What'd you think of that trailer?
This time.
I didn't even know that you could just make a trailer. I thought you had to take bits from the movie, put it together, lie to me about what the plot is. I get in there and I'm disappointed. Okay? Not just, hey, everybody, let's get to a fucking studio at 7 and just film ourselves in cars.
That's
Did you
fine.
see it?
Have you ever seen Fast and the Furious movie?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
And they are.
That.
When The Rock was in them, they were on the rise. And
Of
then as soon
course.
as The Rock left, it went right back to rock bottom.
Interesting.
The Rock was known as franchise Viagra when he got in those movies. Okay,
I like that.
and it's fun.
I like that.
It's funny. It's funny that now that we're saying all this, like since that what's that one that he did?
Black Adam.
Yeah, there we go. Since that bombed, you didn't even like give me a chance. But
Help.
yeah.
I'm evil Superman.
Yeah. I want to be Superman. Since that bombed, he's changed his tone on being in the new Fast and the Furious movies
What?
again. Yeah, he's you can
Hey,
see it in interviews.
You respect the
He's
hustle.
just like, hey man, I'm open to anything. Maybe my I'm
Dude,
like,
can you imagine
I was like, you missed so hard with that Black Adam movie. You're like, fuck, I gotta go back to Vin Diesel.
Now you got to go be friends with Vin Diesel.
Exactly. So,
Can
but
you imagine if they did reshoots real quick and threw The Rock in there for this one?
they could just CGI him in there. Like, fuck it at this point. Just put him on Vin Diesel's
you know
head.
what?
They're both bald.
I truthfully, I think
Same body type.
truthfully,
you know.
yes, I could see them doing that. The only thing that's holding that back is that Vin Diesel's shitty like performance on set has raised the fucking expense on this movie to like Avengers Endgame was the most expensive movie ever made at the time. $356 million they spent on that movie. There's some competition with the Avatar movies
Flash.
with well
That's getting up
That's
there.
getting up there, but there's some competition with the Avatar movies. But the thing is, they shot 2 movies at once with that, and a lot of that was developing technology.
Right.
So it's not necessarily one for one, like days on set, salaries and
Yeah,
stuff like
studio.
that. Yeah,
A bunch of expenses to R&D.
Like we paid it cost us $400 million, and we made almost $2 billion on the first one of the 3 that we shot. So the rest of them are just going to be all profit. Specifically though, this is Fast and the Furious that we're talking about, and it's somewhere in like the 330 to 340 million dollar range they're at this point, and it's like, yo, only one of these movies ever made $1 billion, and that's because James Wan made it, and he's never going back to these. So like, I just don't think that's gonna be like, I just don't think they're gonna be able to crack. All right, let's fucking stop bringing up Fast and Furious. So Cocaine Bear, you don't need to watch this. We already did it for you.
Watch it when it's on Vudu.
I went to a party last night after I saw the movie, and I explained my review, and someone said, "Thanks for taking one for the team," and I'm happy to do that. So, yeah, I guess, don't watch it. I don't have anything else to say. Just fuck all that shit. Anyone else? Anyone got any closing remarks?
You know what time it is, baby.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's the clip of the week. Oh, it's the clip of the week. It's the clip of the week.
God, that is a beautiful landscape.
How appropriate.
Yeah, I got 2 clips for you this week.
Oh, look at him.
That's a bear.
Dude, that is my nightmare.
Because you can't do shit.
You can't.
Yeah,
You're done.
You just
like
sit
you
still.
just.
Well, ooh, excuse me.
Thanks for doing it on mic.
I didn't mean for that.
Pat, lean over to the left a little bit. There you go.
I'm
Perfect.
trying.
There you go, my guy. Oh, this bit. Look how happy he is.
Yeah.
Is something horrific gonna happen?
I think this is just terrifying in its sense.
It's just terrifying.
Because he just looks over and he's like, I can do anything. I can destroy a car. What do you think you're gonna do?
See, but there's a shotgun right there. You know what I mean?
Do you see?
Is that
shotgun?
I don't
Yeah,
think
it's
so.
right there. That is a shotgun.
I don't see it.
You think he's getting to that?
Right
that's
here.
just gonna
It's
piss off the
100%
Oh, you
bear.
know what?
shotgun.
I'm in my shot. It's covered up by our headshots.
That's just gonna piss off. Oh, he sat down. Look at him.
Just chilling.
He's adorable. I love all the things.
Don't
where
get
it's
me
like,
wrong. They are beautiful animals.
Sure.
All right, and they are absolutely necessary to the ecosystem.
So where we got
However,
teddy bears.
If I had a shotgun and it's between me and the bear,
Oh yeah.
I'm going for it. You
I
know?
love all those tweets where it's like my toxic trait is thinking that I could win the bear over, and that he wouldn't hurt me.
Now pay attention. You'll see what he's looking at.
No. What are you doing?
He's a photographer taking
You know what?
pictures
Balls of steel.
yeah.
I will say this.
Bears eating salmon.
I thought the 2 people in the beginning were going to be a parody of the guy that went to live
Bear Man or
the
whatever,
Bear
yeah.
Man. And that audio that's been going around on YouTube for years about him like getting somebody made that. That's
Yeah.
not the real one. The real one's never been released.
Right. Here with the facts.
So that's clip number 1.
Now we got some wild
This
horses.
looks fucking crazy.
And this is clip number 2.
Oh, dude, a trail cam. My brother would be so jealous. Oh shit! Oh my god, dude, no.
They're at an awfully casual pace.
Nah, dude, those things are running at like 35 miles an hour.
That's. Oh my
That
god.
bear's on the hunt.
Oh, I thought I was about to see a horse get fucking.
No, you don't see any action, but that bear is
Watch how this
hunting
like look.
horses.
Yeah, here, just hit play. I love the way this bear runs. Is so satisfying. Like, look at this. Just something about it visually is like that's an apex fucking predator.
Hey, Dale. Wait until you see what I caught on the trail cam.
Well, goddamn, Dale.
Nope, not a 6-point buck. Something even better. Wild northern American horses and the grizzly bear. Dude, see, this is what I love about America is that the only landscape like this and some
Gonna
shit
have-
like this would get caught on camera. You know what I mean? Like,
there's, like-
even out there where there's nothing,
Yeah.
there's still a camera out there that's catching all this shit.
I was thinking one of them was gonna like trip on the salt lick things and like absolutely eat shit.
You didn't even know there was a bear coming.
I didn't. I had actually thought this was someone filming and they were about to get trampled. Based off of your clips, no one got hurt in either of these clips.
I had some bear clips in the chamber, and I thought today was the day to break them out.
That's a good idea. I do. Now that we're talking about this though, I don't know if you guys remember this video from when we were in college,
Yeah.
but I remember specifically being at the fucking student center with you guys, John and Joe, and we saw this video, and like I'll never forget the look on John's face when the guy turns around and the bear's chasing him.
It's a full on like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and the only problem is though is that it's fake as shit.
You know what? Yeah, I forgot it was edited.
It's a good edit.
It's a good edit.
It's a great edit. Where's it?
Oh fuck! It's so quick that
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good clip though.
Dude, you'd never be able to outbike a bear. It's just not possible.
better than trying to run.
I mean, yeah, no, dude, bear top speed is like fucking 30, 35 miles an hour.
You can bike if you're going downhill like that. You might be able to.
Until you get branches and shit.
I mean, yeah, you're betting on a lot.
I love this. This is like the original.
I love this.
This is the
Yeah.
original liminal horror.
Jesus. Yeah, a grizzly bear can run up to 35 miles an hour.
Yeah, bro.
How
I ain't
fast
fronting.
can a biker bike?
I'm going to say mountain bikes.
Well, how many nuts does he have? One or two?
Your choice.
17 to 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, you're fucked.
Bear still. So the bear is twice as fast.
Oh, wait, never mind. I'm sorry. Average mountain bike goes from 30 to
Is that
it's like-
downhill?
yeah, it's like 30 miles an hour.
On what
So
terrain?
That's an average mountain bike. So if it's, if
Does
it's
that
going
mean you're
down,
going on a
but
track
I gotta
or a-
but yeah, no. Is it downhill mountain biking or is it like trail biking? Because that's
I
a
know.
difference. Yeah.
I would say, depending on the bear, you could be lucky. I wouldn't bet on it.
Because I'm not sure if I was going 35 miles an hour, but I downhill mountain bike and I have eaten some shit going probably only like 20, 22
Oh,
or
yeah.
something.
Dude,
And
I'm sure I've told you guys this, but I did a 4-day hike through the Green Mountains up in Vermont years back, and we had a designated time that we had to meet up with our ride, and it was like, you need to be here at this window because I have somewhere to be. So we got up in the morning. It's like, okay, we have 3 hours to make it this many miles. We're going fucking hauling ass downhill. And if you make one wrong move, put like Margot Martindale in this movie, your face is going right to the ground.
Yeah.
One of the most exciting and scariest things I've ever done is run down a mountain at full speed,
Carrying a ton of shit.
carrying a backpack full of gear.
Whew.
Yeah, no, I've never seen a bear in the wild, but I can't imagine that it's
I've
like,
seen bears in the wild.
Is it?
Yeah.
What's it like?
I
I've
was
seen bears in the wild.
not a long story, but when I was young, we have family out in Pennsylvania. I was terrified to go because I was like, there are bears out here. My dad was like,
the bears can smell the menstruation.
my dad was like, there's no bears out here. It's fine. It's okay. And then the whole thing, I was so nervous. I was just like, I don't want to go up here. I don't want to go out in the woods. I don't want to do this. My dad's just like, no, it's fine. You're being a kid. As we're fucking driving
yes,
up.
exactly.
Did your dad call you a pussy? Is that?
You're being a kid.
In less words.
I love the way that you just stopped. You're being a kid.
A child.
Okay, keep going.
Sure enough, driving up there, we get to like my, second cousin's place or whatever. The fucking side of the road, there's a bear.
What'd your dad say?
He ate his words. Like, he was just like,
There's so
when
many.
you're wrong, and I am sorry.
There's so many black bears in northern New Jersey now that bear hunt is just open season all the time. Like just kill the bears, like because they're
on cocaine.
they killed that one Pedals the bear too. You know the one that it was a bipedal bear, so it walked on 2 feet. Yeah,
he didn't
somebody
deserve to die.
We all deserve to die, Mike.
Fair.
In some fashion or another. But yeah, so with that said, this episode deserves to die. So anything else? Nothing? I think we're good.
I think we're good.
All right. So then thanks so much for watching episode or listening to episode 103 of Press Any Key. Once again, you can find us on all social media, all podcast apps at pressantykey.tv. You can also find us on our website, pressantykey.tv. Thanks so much for listening. We will see you next week. Goodbye.